What is up, everybody? It's Cody and Brian here with Fourth and Dynasty on Dynasty Pros, your favorite YouTube channel. We're here to talk about what, of course, the NFL draft. Here to break down, well, as close as we can a rookie draft. We're going to go through round one today, and we're going to drop you the next couple rounds over the next few days. Cody, how we doing today?
Doing great. Just got off work, so I'm ready to do a fake mock because, man, I've been doing way too many rookie drafts already.
I was going to say, how many already? We're approaching half a dozen yet?
Yeah, or if we're counting auctions, yes.
So, oh, man. It's just wild time.
It is.
I keep trying to talk about football at work, and everybody's like, it's May? Yeah. How are we talking about? I'm like, come on, guys. It's
Christmas,
time.
Man. Yeah,
it's Christmas. The best time for Dynasty. Absolutely. Well, I guess let's just dive right in because we have a lot to talk about here. We are going to cover what we'll call a consensus top 12 pick. A lot of these guys can go in very many orders depending on the I didn't like that. A lot of these guys can go in so many different orders, a lot depending on what type of league, what's happening, what your team situation is. But we're going to talk about mainly Superflex here. And, well, of course, I mean, maybe not quite, of course, but Caleb Williams, got to talk about him first.
Yeah, he's the consensus 101 in a lot of drafts. But, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of picks lately with our number 2 on the board, Marvin Harrison, going. But Caleb Williams is obviously the best quarterback in the draft, and if you're in a super flex draft, you got to get the best player on the board, and that's always a quarterback, especially if you only have 2, because you need that insurance. And then if you're me in a super flex and you take an orphan or 2, Bryce Young's probably your second quarterback, so you just need more insurance than that. So I would be taking Caleb Williams in almost every draft I can.
Yeah, it's as close to a slam dunk pick, I feel like, as it can get. I mean, we were saying that with Trevor Lawrence, and look at the teeter-totter we've been on there with him. But Caleb Williams, he has a slight rushing floor to him, so you like to see that. You like to see that improbability. He's well-polished and not just on his nails. This kid, he's going to have so much fun because, honestly, this is the best situation any rookie has ever gone to. We've talked about it before, but with the weapons they have and they drafted Rome Odunze, this is, like we said, it's as easy as it gets.
We're going to find out quick if he works out, but that's the beauty about Superflex too, right? I mean, even a second quarterback, and even if he gets 15 points, you're still happy with that because just a regular flex position, you're hoping you're getting 10.
Right. Well, I think this is, I mean, if that first pick's not controversial enough, whether you're going Marvin Harrison or Caleb Williams, if Marvin falls, I think this one gets pretty tossed up in the air too. I've seen Marv go here, but I've also seen Jayden Daniels go here. And rightfully so. As you said, when you're in a super flex, it's just such a hot commodity of a position. Now, I've seen leagues where quarterbacks just flow, and they really don't care about the value of that. There are those leagues that exist, but majority of what I've always seen is quarterback's the most important spot. And Jayden Daniels, he's going to be one that gives you that rushing floor that just it's so coveted.
Have you seen any Jayden Daniels at the 101 yet?
I don't think. No, I've seen Marv in 101 and Superflex in plenty of leagues, but
I think if Jayden had, or if Caleb didn't have all the weapons that they got for him, I think you would have seen Jayden Daniels at the 101 a little bit more, just because of his rushing upside, right? Mm-hmm. But Caleb Williams got weapons, so I mean, that's why I think he is the consensus. And I mean, he was the best quarterback in terms of just QB football and NFL football, right? But in fantasy, yeah. I could have seen Daniels push him a little bit more, but right now he's probably, if you're not taking Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe trade back. See, maybe even do the 103 to get Jayden Daniels. I mean, someone's going to try to trade up with you for Marvin Harrison Jr. And if that's getting a future first and maybe a viable wide receiver in a flex, and you're only moving back 2 or 3 spots and still guaranteeing yourself a quarterback, I might do that.
Yeah. I wouldn't blame anybody for that at all. I think it's a lot, too, to do with Jayden Daniels' landing spot. Had he gone to the Patriots, I think that Caleb and Marv would be solidified 1-2, but just him going to Washington. Not only they grabbed a tight end in the second round, they've got Zach Ertz coming there, whether he's going to be good or not. Then you also have Jahan Dotson. Hopefully he's going to come out in this third year. That second year definitely was not the breakout we wanted. But Terry McLaurin, he's not a scrub. Veteran.
No.
He's playing with his 12th starting quarterback since he's come into the league,
and maybe fourth OC. Like,
it's so wild. Like, you feel for the guy, but he's talented enough to overcome that. So I'm excited to see what they can do in that air raid offense for sure.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, I like his offense a little bit more than Drake Maye's, obviously. But who do you have at 3 and 4? Or are they kind of synonymous with the two that we've been talking about already?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw up Drake Maye 3. I definitely don't believe that he is the third. I wouldn't blame you if you took him if you needed a quarterback that bad, but I don't think in many positions I would be taking him at 3. But just to avoid that conversation, I threw him 3 so we don't have to fit him in later.
It's true, but again, in this scenario, if I have the 103 and Daniels and Williams has gone above me and I don't need a quarterback, but I know someone does, I'm going to trade back. So I'm going to accumulate more because, again, like, this is a coveted draft. The 24th draft is coveted with wide receivers and all this other stuff. So it's just more of I'm probably going to try to get the best bang I can, and maybe that is trading back. But I would let someone else touch the Patriots, even though I do like the weapons they put around him. I do like what they did in the draft.
Yeah, we'll talk about one of the guys later for sure, but they went out and got a couple wide receivers to add to this. They also have a string of mediocrity over there, so they're trying their hardest. This is a new regime. You can't really knock, the Patriots as you want to because their pass with wide receivers aren't great. Anything else on Drake Maye? Are you confident in taking him? Like, would you spend that high round pick on him?
So from what I've been seeing and what I've been just in the half dozen that I've seen already, he's not going at the 103. He's going more the 6 and 7 range. And that's probably where we should be taking him because, I've seen one quarterback taken higher than him already, surpassing him. And the 3 wide receivers are pretty legit. So, and with pretty decent landing spots. So,
yeah, I'd honestly be okay with I have taken another quarterback over Maye. I've taken one of the big 3 wide receivers. I haven't gotten any of the other 2. Nabers and Harrison were out of my price range this year, unfortunately.
That's a good thing.
But yeah, I have taken Odunze over Maye, so I think it all is team specific. But again, it's I don't know. We might see the first 2-3 years wasted, and this guy's cap might only be quarterback 15, 14, just because he doesn't give us that rushing upside.
Yep.
All right. So the most exciting guy in the draft, he landed in probably one of the best spots in the draft. He's going to be the bona fide number 1 on the Arizona Cardinals. He's got a guy who has no problem playing favorites in Kyler Murray. So Marvin Harrison, I think we've kind of touched on it already. You can take him anywhere at the 101 to the 104.
And I would understand it. Yep. And I would understand it. I mean, again, like we've been saying for how long, he's the wide receiver technician. If I'm at the 4, I'm not even listening to offers. I'm just slamming the pick, Marvin Harrison Jr., because that is so much value. And even if I have, like, what if you had just an off year and, Justin Jefferson got hurt? So you might be picking in the 4 spot just because of how injuries happen to your fantasy team and stuff like that. So now you're pairing maybe a Jamar Chase with a Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm just going to keep making sure my wide receivers are good and just keep stacking up points.
100%. This guy won't ever devalue.
Yeah.
Right now you're getting him, you see him anywhere in Dynasty from like wide receiver 5, 6-ish to wide receiver 10, 12. So I don't think we're ever going to see him depreciate below that. If anything, we are going to see him peaking in that top 3 of a Dynasty wide receiver. So
that, and I mean, we have these Colts fans like Brian here that will definitely take him in the top 5 in a startup because why wouldn't you? You have to.
This close to joining a new league just to ensure that I get him, because I won't get him in my rookie drafts anywhere this year. So like this close, because I think he's going to be more expensive in a startup next year than he is this year.
That's also true. So get him, especially with the value, so we can have a dynasty dilemma or whatever you want next year. But I mean, he could be a linchpin in your fantasy offense for years to come. So it's a bona fide 101 pick. That's what you want, right?
I think so. All right, next guy. Here we go. Malik Nabers. Quite a deflated feeling. Now you can't say that this guy is not going to be the number one target in this office. Like if he finishes below a 25% target share, I will be very surprised. That will be because Daniel Jones made it through the whole season, and the guy just doesn't do the right thing. So, not the best landing spot for me. I guess that's kind of why I haven't really jumped up to grab him anywhere. But give me your initial thoughts on this, Cody.
Well, I mean, I've been critical of Malik Nabers, even though I am an LSU fan. I love what Nabers does, but is he a wide receiver one? Is he the outside guy? I don't know if he is. So if he's not, you already have Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt that does his role already. So you're just rolling with three of those guys and not a true wide receiver one yet. Can he grow into it? I think so, yeah, but not with Daniel Jones. So I agree with you, but I mean, if you're in need of a wide receiver, who's always counted him out? Everyone, because he was behind so many other wide receivers like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson as well. So everyone's been counting him out his whole career. So if it's your time to buy him, just go and do it. I mean, again, the only argument here would be Rome Odunze, right? So
and you're gonna have to wait a year for him for sure.
And you're gonna have to wait a year for him as well, because Keenan Allen and DJ Moore aren't coming off the field
outside of injury.
But still, I'd much rather take DJ Moore than I would Rome Odunze in a startup right now. That's just me.
Yeah. I think Nabers will he'll finish significantly higher, I think, than Odunze this year. But I think next year Odunze would probably have the higher ceiling, because Nabers would either be playing with franchise or free agency quarterback or rookie quarterback next year. So it might be 3 years before we really get to see his top 5 potential.
So even right now, get Malik Nabers now, trade him next year for a lot of capital, and grab Odunze with some of that capital at a lower price.
These are the moves, people. I love this time of year. Just all the possibilities. You're moving up, you're moving down. I think that's the beauty of it. As we go down, it's tiers. Obviously, yeah. I'd put Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison at a tier. Probably Jayden Daniels and Malik Nabers at a tier, and then Drake Maye and Odunze. You're kind of pairing up, tripling up some of these guys, and this is the last guy. I think that's in a tier, but I think him and Drake Maye match up perfectly, because I think both of them, they're a wait and see. Not wait and see. Odunze, we don't know he's going to be good, but fairly confident this guy's going to be good, but we have to wait and see his full potential next year.
For sure. I've already seen once a guy with multiple first-round picks grab 101 Caleb Williams, and even trading up from his 109 to 105, giving up DK as well, just so he can get the stack with Rome Odunze.
But I mean, how much fun is that to do?
That's so much fun. That's so much fun. And as the owner with that pick, and he's trying to move up, I'm gonna do that all day in a bag of chips, getting a future first and just trading back. I'm all right with that. So, right. But again, like you said, it's just DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. You're not going to – short-term value is bad. Long-term value is good. So if you're a contending team and you have a pick that you can get Rome Odunze, I'm grabbing him all day.
Mm-hmm. I think there is a chance that we still see some of his greatness this year too. Unlike, that situation with, JSN where he's third. He is third, but he plays bigger than JSN. So I think the potential of him playing on the outside while Keenan Allen's on the inside, DJ Moore, who's able to do both, So I don't know. I guess just best ball, that price right now is very good because he's like a early wide receiver 3. So I still think that can return value in that spot right there. Granted, we're talking dynasty here right now, but it's best ball
For
season
sure.
too, guys. Alrighty, so I almost forgot this guy as we were breaking him down, but Michael Penix, biggest shock, I'm sure, for most people of the draft. I didn't quite see them taking a quarterback with the Kirk Cousins signing. But answer the biggest question we have, Cody. Does he still retain top end value? Like, do you still use that first round pick on him despite we're waiting at least a year outside of injury? Now, I've seen some things they can probably get out after a year with a pretty good cap hit. Year 2 is probably the biggest window for him, but he's old. I say old. He's 23, almost 24.
In quarterback terms in the NFL, that's old. So
Yeah,
it just, I don't know why you take a guy that's going to sit for 2 years at least, barring injury again, and you don't take the 20-year-old. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's just, it was baffling to me as well. Obviously, it was baffling to Kirk Cousins. I'm not taking him in the first round. I'll let someone else do that. I see more value in another quarterback that was taken later that I would be taking before him. Actually, 2. So the other 2 I would take before him and be happy with that.
And it's just the fear of how long does he sit. Because if you're talking about situation, I think he went to...
Great situation.
I would take him over Drake Maye in a heartbeat. With no Kirk Cousins. Draft capital is only a handful of picks. This is still a top 7 pick overall. He's got one of the best arms in the class. 2 amazing pass catchers plus Bijan back there. Like, situationally, this is great. So it's one of those, I've seen him go at 107. So that's buying him at that peak for the risk. And I've seen him go at 212. So somebody's going to get it right, but it's just the gamble of dynasty, and it's how big you want to play,
Yep.
I don't know where I'm at, though. Luckily, I haven't been stuck in that situation. I traded out the only spot where I was going to take him. I traded out because I didn't want to pull the trigger. I was too afraid.
There you go. I haven't taken him in as either. I think I've taken almost every other quarterback, though.
Yeah. I think we know who. This is the guy. Why don't you introduce him, Cody? Let us know. This is the final pick in the first round.
The final pick in the first round? You mean J.J. McCarthy?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. What a great landing spot. And again, I'd probably take him over Drake Maye just because of where they landed. But again, he's not starting week 1. There's going to be there's already levels to it. KOC's already said there's levels to it. He's got to meet all these milestones before he starts. So I think that's how it's going to be. We just got to be patient, and I think they will be because they got him at pick 10. They didn't have to move that round 1 2025 first round pick at all for both of the trades.
They traded up around. How crazy. Like, we all talked about, no, there's no way they trade up. Oh, they're going to trade up. They're going to trade everything. And Minnesota, after watching what the Falcons did and, like, applauding them all offseason, Minnesota, I feel like they pulled it off.
I do like how some of the higher end guys, like Bill Barnwell, I'll shout him out here. We can add him later. I got some words for you. Giving them the worst draft grade? Are you kidding me? Getting one of the best defensive prospects and their franchise quarterback of the future, but just because we have three picks next year, who's not going to do that? Of course, someone's going to do that. Every time, every GM's going to do that, and it was a good draft for them. And if he works out, and if Dallas Turner works out, who cares about the picks next year?
Yeah, I don't know.
Bill Barnwell, it's on site if I see you, all right?
We had 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12. I think theirs was one of the better ones. As far as after like what we saw in mock drafts and those conversations, I think theirs looked maybe not the best, but I don't think there's any complaints at all with that. They moved up to get a second first-round pick and still ended up they kept it. It was great.
Yeah, they kept that pick, and again, like the 25 first rounder, they move up to get one of the best defensive players in the draft. That's a great draft. But in regards to fantasy, yeah, I'm taking J.J. McCarthy over Drake Maye.
Amazing situation.
And it's really strictly like I'll wait for J.J. McCarthy even if Drake Maye starts right away, because Drake Maye has to get all of his skill position players on the same page. Where J.J. McCarthy is going into a system where it's Justin Jefferson's offense. As Jordan Addison's already been in this offense, JJ's got to learn it. And if he doesn't learn it before or after training camp, Sam Darnold will start until JJ gets it.
I'd bet naming rights to my firstborn that JJ's in there by week 5. Like
now, week 5, yes, but I'm not saying Sam Darnold's the future either.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking,
I just mean like he won't.
I'm saying like Minnesota will be fine if they're 1-3, and then start JJ McCarthy.
That's what the fans are going to be hoping.
Yeah,
because if they start 3-1, that's when it's the harder conversation.
Yeah, because then we can wait.
Yeah, but I don't know if this defense is necessarily good enough where they're going to, completely carry,
For sure.
I think they're about middle of the pack, so I think hopefully they just competitive enough where Sam Darnold is asked to do more than he can. Well, everybody, if you hear that noise, you know what it means. Well, there's no pick in, but it's time for us to go. Cody, this is our first, it's the top 10 from the NFL draft. We're going to wrap it up here. We're going to carry on for the next couple picks after this. Cody, tell everybody, where can they find you?
Dynasty Pros exclusive at Cody Folden on X. What about you?
All those great articles he's got. You can find me at Twitter. I am at too much _ Brian. You can find me here on Dynasty Pros. Lots of videos coming your way, as well as on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Look for Too Much Fantasy Football and Too Much Best Ball. It's time to get out of here. Let's go. Here we go. Yeah. I had something. It was coming.